Cursed by the old gods in Bethany, we are four mortals taking on the impossible task of reviewing all of the 1001 pieces of pop culture so we can one day die. This is episode 119.
Woo! You know, I'm really glad that the intro, I sort of haven't thought about this, that it just notes that this is an impossible task.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not, yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be like 20 years long.
Right.
We've hit 2.
I mean, it's true. That's a 10th of the way there.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
No, it's...
Like, if you got a 10% on a pop quiz in history class, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Sure. Depends what history.
Go further on that.
Yeah, elaborate?
Because that wasn't just a dumb thing you said without thinking it out. Please, go on with what you're saying.
No, it wasn't. Like, I don't know the intricacies of, I don't know, pick anything. 1500 Scandinavian art.
On the other hand, if you're in a history class... But you still
fail the pop quiz.
Like, if you're in a history class where that pop quiz is being given, most likely you are in the class that is teaching you those things.
Hopefully. But we did not explicitly say.
Oh, she did say pop quiz.
Okay. Well.
So basically you just weren't listening.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Audio podcast.
Yeah.
We're not listening. Anywho, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
And every week we review the 1001 movies, albums, food, songs, and TV shows that you must consume before you die, based on those published books. Pedro gives us a random number. We do all the corresponding items from those books, and then we give them hinge ratings. Hinges because we're old, because we're immortal. We've been around forever. You all get it.
Yeah.
Let's see, this week the number is 315. And these are the following things. The movie is Knights of Cabiria.
The album is I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight by Richard and Linda Thompson.
The food is Afugea'l Pitu, which is a cheese I do not have, but I'm excited to get.
The song is In a Broken Dream by Python Lee Jackson.
And the TV show is The Day of the Triffids. But I just want to do a very brief TV kind of catch-up at the top here. Because since the last recording, the TV show we reviewed way back when, Lee could probably give us the number, Scandal ended. It was a show that we marked at the time as a very kind of goofy, ridiculous soap opera. And I think that the final season embraced its madness and kind of, I realized, became what 24 wasn't.
It's a good comparison.
24 took itself very seriously, and still everyone's favorite moments were the insane parts where he would, cut off his son-in-law's arm. But they were too few and far between, because it would be like 17 episodes of we don't know what the plot is, and then terrorists. Scandal has a very similar way of just going completely insane, but keeping that up, and has more insane moments per month than 24 did. Equally not realistic. Equally weird about some of its themes. But I thought it ended well, because I went into the finale thinking that any of these characters could all die, they could all go to jail, or they could all, enjoy the sunset on a beach. And of course, all three happened.
So you didn't feel like it was the end of Seinfeld. Spoilers for the end of Seinfeld, if you haven't seen the last episode of Seinfeld. You didn't feel like it was the only reasonable ending was for all of the characters to go to jail.
Oh, I mean, they should all go to jail.
Yeah.
Because the final season within the final arc acknowledged, as they tried to get out of their final jam, they tried to think of ways out, and then they just keep counting all of the crimes they've done. And they've all murdered so many people.
Right.
Like really important people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the silliness of it. I'll actually keep my rating of a 4.1, but I will recommend it because it does end just completely absurdly.
Yeah.
I just want to make a quick comment. We also reviewed the show Jane the Virgin. Season 4 ended with its biggest plot twist of the series. So I would recommend everyone catches up before the likely final season, Season 5 this fall, because it'll be easier to be spoiled once the season starts, I think.
Cool.
So catch up on that, because that show, it had a bump in the middle of Season 3, and it's now definitely fixed it, and it's delightful again. And crazy things happen on that show as well. I'm all about female-led shows where crazy things happen.
Apparently.
Now it's on the movie, Knights of Cabiria.
Ragazzi, mambo numero 26!
Eighth of Cabiria is a 1957 film by Federico Fellini. It is our first Fellini movie. This came out kind of during the time of Italian neorealism, and while all those films kind of look at poverty and kind of some of the more difficult things that are kind of brushed over by Hollywood, Fellini still is able to look at those kind of sad, difficult things with also a charm to him. This is the story of a prostitute who goes through a number of, I'd say, many adventures, I guess. Adventures is too strong. Many
Mishaps?
episodic
things.
stories, yeah.
Things.
As she kind of looks for love and happiness. This won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film and stars his brilliant wife, Giulietta Messina. Fellini became later known for his surreal works, and I think his kind of earlier works are a bit kind of forgotten a little bit in terms of their brilliance. What did you all think of Fellini's work? We'll start with Lee this time.
I think this is my first Fellini film, actually. I don't remember if I've seen any other Fellinis, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to. It didn't sound like anything I would be interested in, but the main character is just so damn charming that, like, I wanted to follow her, and, like, even just her, like, walking down the street. I want to watch her walk down the street and just talk to people and interact with people. She was just so much fun to be around.
She has just this incredible energy. Like,
yeah, and she's also kind of like she doesn't take people's shit in a way that I appreciate, and feels very, like, not out of place, but unusual for a film of this era. Like, because, like, she's not, like, the cute Audrey Hepburn character who, is quirky and, talks back. She's, like, kind of mean and awesome.
Well, the movie begins with her recovering from drowning, essentially.
Yep.
And her kind of first reaction of waking up is just kind of, like, be disgusted and runs away. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is...
Well,
she doesn't, like...
she doesn't believe... Well, she's not willing to accept it, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it's... She's not Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
Right. Yeah, that's a good, like, non-comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Contrast, that's the word.
Yeah. Sarah, what did you think of her and the movie?
I loved it, and I was also surprised to love it. I didn't get into it at the beginning. Where it really picked up for me was in the last hour or so, where which starts with her being hypnotized on stage, which is sort of this very strange, but, like, telling moment about sort of our outer versus inner, desires, and how awful it is to be made vulnerable about those inner desires in front of people when you have worked so hard to sort of cultivate a certain facade or a certain, or where even you've been lying to yourself about the things that you want and don't want. And then I loved the end.
We'll save that for the end of our conversation. That way, people who have seen this film can skip the end of the segment if possible. But that hypnotism scene is, I think, one of the highlights of the film, because it is such a
Rough.
highlight in terms of quality, not in terms of, like, enjoyment, because it's, like, the exact example of what it means to kind of punch down in comedy.
Yeah. Totally.
The joke, and it's a joke that she, like, they mock her for even trying to leave the stage about, is just like, oh, how dare the idea that you think you can have a life like this. Even just upon meeting her, they kind of laugh and are disgusted. Not disgusted, but just, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
About this kind of thing. And it's mean. It's just a really mean thing. Pedro, you are cringing at this scene.
I mean, it's so hard to watch. It's so, I don't know. She doesn't want to be up there. Like, she tries to leave. She tries to not tell them where she actually lives for obvious reasons, and they force it out of her and then immediately use that as a basis for judgment on the behalf of the entire crowd. And like, oh, you're less than a human being, so we can just laugh at you and make fun of your wishes and what you truly feel. It was not great at all.
But there's a lot of comedy out there that is basically that. I mean, it doesn't feel unreal or stretched. I mean, it's definitely, I think the whole film exists in a little bit of a heightened world, but like, it feels like something that could happen and is awful. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go heightened world exactly. I think
that's just Italy.
it's just Italy.
That's the perfect answer.
Well, man, because this is a part of a film movement called Italian neorealism. So.
Yeah, but it's sure. And I get what that, I mean, I don't know anything about film history. When I say a heightened world, I more mean, it's about it, the story that's being told is a very specific, pointed story about some rather, unusual things happening in someone's life. Like, right, I mean, like, it's not the kind of realism, it's not naturalism. It's not the kind of realism that's just like, and now we look at what regularly happens during a person's regular day or regular life. So, I mean, the book ended sequences of the beginning and the end of the film, like, obviously are.
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean, so that's all I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of the movement, I'm not an expert on this one, but I've seen a bunch of films, it's kind of about the realism comes from the pathos of kind of examining the character as these kind of nuanced and often tragic characters. The most common films from this time are like Bicycle Thieves or Umberto D. Sad Italian tales.
I would say that Cabiria really needs to stop telling men how much money she has.
Yeah.
That's like, and then at the same time, I did love that she makes the same mistake again. Like, because, like, you do that in your life. Like, and, like...
Well, she has so few moments of pride.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So this is something that she has earned.
Right.
And it's one of the few things she has. Like,
yeah.
And she's, like, happy about, like early on there's a point where she's kind of, like, in a weird way bragging about, like, where she lives. Because she goes, like, I've never had to, like, sleep under a bridge. Well, she goes, maybe once or twice. But, like, that doesn't count. Like, she isn't, like... Right. It isn't like a joke, like a side kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like...
No, she's proud that she owns her place, basically.
Yeah.
And it's hers, and it's got what she needs.
Was the film, like, effective for you, though? Did you like it?
It was. It was a little bit hard for me to follow. Part of it because it was just very much like some scenes were literally just to get her to a certain place to have another scene, like the man with the bag. His whole purpose was to drive her to the procession where all that stuff was happening, basically. Actually, my girlfriend told me they were going to edit that out, and then someone came across that bit of film on the editing room floor and put it back in.
Oh, really?
That's funny.
Huh.
But also, I'm a slow reader, so I couldn't quite keep up with the subtitles and see the film at the same time. So a lot of times I chose to watch the film instead of read what was
She
happening.
talks really fast, and I had to do some rewinding too.
So
what?
But it was.
No,
you're judging me.
Weirdly, I was judging Pedro, but looking at you.
You've known I'm a slow reader for years.
No, it's really not just of that. It's just a kind of beautiful parallel between you not listening to lyrics and now you not reading the subtitles.
Well, I mean, I can either read a story happening or I can watch it unfold.
That's right. You pick one of the two.
Film is, I think,
it's a visual medium
to watch. So, but it was very watchable. Like, it was very well done, even though like it takes place on a street corner in a shanty town, not really a town, it's just like a brick building, like all that stuff. But it was great to watch. I loved the main character. She was so awesome.
She's great.
It's just an incredible performance too. She just has this amazing energy that just kind of translates so well to the film.
No, she was great.
Lee, did you like the way that the story was structured? Do you think this was a good character presentation for her?
I think so, because the movie it's trying to tell you about this person's life. It's trying to show that even prostitutes have issues and they have problems, and like they're people too, and we need to think about that. And I think it works well, because we see her in happy times, we see her in sad times, we see her just walking down the street, we see her talking with her friends. Like I think it works well. I think the structure works very, very well.
Sarah mentioned the parallel aspect of it. I think now let's go towards the end of the film. Those of you who haven't seen it, you can skip to the next segment if you like, or it's not a spoiler-heavy movie.
No.
You can hear the end and still enjoy the whole film if you haven't seen it yet. But Sarah, talk about the this element. What happens in the end?
So, I mean, well, the beginning of the movie is she's not just drowning. She gets pushed into the lake by a man who steals her money.
Yes.
And then after this horrible experience that she has being made fun of, she meets this guy who seems very nice, named Oscar. It's unclear, I think, whether from the beginning he's scamming her or whether he decides to scam her when he sees how much money she has. Like, I think either interpretation
I think
is
the latter.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Because he sees her at that magician's place and just feels genuinely terrible for her.
But doesn't he take the name of the guy, the imaginary boyfriend, on stage?
Yes.
So I was kind of, after a while, I was like, well, this is someone who's bearing all on stage. Clearly she's vulnerable. Clearly I can take advantage of it. What if I say my name's Oscar?
That's a good point.
I noticed the same thing. I think it's a little bit of both.
I didn't want to believe it at first.
I think weirdly,
I didn't believe it until towards the end. I was like, oh god, this is going to happen. Oh no.
And so they get married, or they get married. She withdraws or gets all of her money. It's a giant roll. It's a lot of money. They go for a walk near a lake, near a cliff, and she's talking about what she's talking to him, and she sort of has this moment where she realizes that the exact same thing is about to happen, and it does, and she has to give him her money, and she doesn't get pushed in the lake, but could, and he leaves, and she's heartbroken, and that's sort of, but it ends with her exiting the woods in tears and being met with this sort of weird ramshackle procession of kids with instruments and stuff, and her sort of walking along and being really sad and then sort of slowly becoming happy, which is a lovely comment on how life's shit but we go on.
It's something about her energy and her character that her spirit isn't broken through all this. I think it was makes her just such an incredible character and a great character study to me.
Well, she gets to dance a little bit at the end, sort of, with the procession. She loves to dance. I love that bit when she was with the rich dude. She's like, all right, I'm just going to dance. And he's like, I'm too. I can't. Anyway.
The segment with the rich man, because I forgot that this movie inspired a musical. Bob Fosse's Sweet Charity. So when that scene was happening, I just had my head start playing If They Could See Me Now, which is the song that happens during that segment. And I was like, oh, this is similar. Oh wait, no, this is the Fellini film. He adapted to be that.
Funny.
Good musical. Yeah.
Did we mention that she was his wife? Fellini's wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my intro, you listened to.
No, I did not.
God damn it. Lee, what did you think of the ending? Is that the way you're hoping it ended?
No, I was really hoping that this would be a more happy ending and that Cabiria would have the life that she wanted. But it didn't, and I understand why it ended that way, and the ending works for me. It's a little bit of a bummer that I didn't want.
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, it's kind of almost every scene. It's a little bit of a bummer. Oh. But I weirdly, I don't get, depressed by this film, though.
No.
I still, have these elements of hope for her, because I think, she is still, a force to be reckoned with.
And she's
in a way.
Sort of relentlessly, I wouldn't say she's positive in all of her day-to-day interactions, but she is an optimist about her own life, and she's willing to keep going. And she doesn't feel sorry for herself very often. It's those moments of weakness that this guy Oscar, I think, exploits. I also noticed the Oscar thing, and it did lead to. I think he's scamming her from the start. But I have to think that one day she kind of have. I don't think it's a cynical movie. No, it's not. It's a realism movie, yeah.
A lot of that, I think, has to do with the end, though. If they didn't close it the way they did and just left her at the side of the cliff,
it would be a very different movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that would be too much of a bummer.
That would be awful.
That just means she lost.
Yeah.
It's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. really good.
Mhm.
This Fellini guy.
Right?
He's good at things.
I heard he's famous or whatever. Maybe I should watch some stuff by him.
Yeah. 8.5. One of the best movies ever. Also weirdly turned into a musical.
Which one?
9.
Oh, I don't know. He's
Yeah.
very well.
9's not very good.
Okay.
But Daniel Lewis decided I could sing now. So it's a weird movie to watch because no one's going to tell Lincoln no.
But also, that doesn't mean that he can sing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Can he sing?
I mean, he has confidence.
That's all
In
you need.
comparison to, say, Hugh Jackman... No, wait. Russell Crowe in Les Mis. Where are we at?
I would say he's better than Crow, and I would say he's also better than Johnny Depp and Sweeney Todd as 3 non-singers who weirdly got leads of famous musicals.
Russell Crowe in that Les Mis movie is shocking that they let him play that role.
Yeah, because they're just not going to turn down Russell Crowe.
But they could have. Like, there are so many other famous actors.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think I heard that he was so giddy for it too.
Yeah,
he
no,
loves
I've
Les
also
Mis.
heard that he was really excited, and it's like, dude, you're just talking. Like, do you know the difference between talking and singing? Because you're just talking. Anyway, this is a digression. I thought that we should go down.
Yeah. Anywho, Hinges, 4.3.
That sounds about right. 4.3.
4.4.
4.25.
All right. This is a very strong consensus we had.
Yeah.
About Nights at Cabiria. It's available in many places. We watched it on Filmstruck. Good stuff.
Is that where I watched it? Yeah, it is.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only place that's streaming it right now.
I mean, I could have rented it.
It's true. The Criterion's out of print, so
Bastards.
I know, right?
Mm.
What have they done for me?
Right?
They announced Bull Durham's going to be on the Criterion Collection, though.
What is?
Bull Durham.
I don't
Have you not seen Bull Durham?
I don't think I have.
It's another Kevin Costner baseball film.
Oh. Well, I gotta pay the bills.
Anywho, now it's time for the album segment. Lee, what do we hear this week?
This week we listened to I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight by Richard and Linda Thompson.
I'm so tired of working every day. Now the weekend's come, I'm gonna throw my troubles away. If you got the cafe, mister, you'll do alright. I want to see the bright lights tonight.
I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight by Richard and Linda Thompson is the second release from Richard Thompson, but the first one including his wife Linda. It came out in 1974. I have some thoughts about it.
Pray tell.
They are fantastic lyricists. They are fantastic musicians. They can't sing for shit.
Aw.
I get what you're saying. I liked it all. I don't mind their vocals too much. Definitely they are not, it's definitely not a singer-songwriter pair where you're like, wow, I would listen to her sing all day. But their lyrics are great, and their music's great.
Well, so this is the Richard Thompson we heard a whole 2 weeks ago of his ode to his motorcycle.
It's very different, though.
It is. I like this a lot more, actually. I don't know if it's just her presence or a different kind of approach to the songs, but I wasn't thrown off by their singing. I'd rank them above Daniel Day-Lewis. So
And
them,
above Russell Crowe.
Daniel Lewis, Johnny Depp, Russell Crowe. But no, like the song that I think perfectly fits the vocals is The Little Beggar Girl.
Oh my
which-
god, that song drove me crazy.
I think it should only be heard at a tavern while drinking. It is a great
Yeah.
shanty song that still has a bit of the moodiness of the previous song, but has that the chipper shanty element to it. I think that's exactly the kind of vocals you need for that song.
And I'll agree with you there. I understand that she was kind of hamming up the accent a little bit, but there were a couple times where beggar sounded like batter, and at that point
You've gone too far.
It's too much. It's too much when you are saying completely different words because of the accent. It's too much. But I don't know. I like my singer-songwriters to be a little bit more melodic with their vocals and less scratchy, angry, rural Brits.
You know, they reminded me a bit, especially in the earlier songs on the album, of kind of having that Bob Dylan feel to it.
Yeah.
Where they would have like a lyric that just seems like it just kind of lingers in the air a little bit. Like it's not like a sharp end of sentence.
They also have that same, like, gravelly weirdness that Bob Dylan does, except that, unlike Bob Dylan, they don't then start singing a different way, and you're like, oh, you're one of the greatest musicians of all time.
Well, I mean, gravelly weirdness will go Tom Waits, then Bob Dylan, then down.
Sure.
So with the rankings.
All about those rankings.
Yeah.
That sounds about right, I guess.
Yeah, I never heard of these people before, presumably because they're a British singer-songwriter pair. And...
Except we heard him 2 weeks ago.
No, including them. Before that, I had not heard of them.
I wasn't too excited to listen to this album because the very little research I did before starting listening to it was looking at the Wikipedia page. And, like, in the first paragraph, it says, this album was not commercially successful and it was critically ignored upon release. Those albums usually don't excite me.
Right.
Because we haven't really found a magical gem where it's like, it was critically ignored, but holy shit, were those critics wrong?
Yeah.
That I know, obviously, film history more, and there are some gems like that. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life, tanked when it came out. That's a
I
great
guess
movie.
it's more like if it hasn't happened in music within like 5 years, of like occasionally you'll have a band where it's like their debut album is ignored, their second or third album starts to get some heat, and then people go back to their debut album and are like, damn, this is an amazing album, how did we not know? But like, if it hasn't, like, they're shorter, I think, and music is a little bit more, like, now is quite, I think, open to innovation, so...
The Now albums, right?
Yes.
Now that's what you call music.
Well, those two. God, every time anyone mentions those, I have to recommend the AV Club series, Then This Is What They Called Music, which is probably some of the best, like, journalism about 90s and 2000s music I've ever heard. The end.
Journalism?
Yeah, why not?
It's funny. Do they journal?
Yeah, it's not, no, it's about, oh, absolutely, they talk about, like, yeah, one of my favorite ones is about entire album of it that's all, like, all the music videos are suburban dads spying on teenage, like, early pubescent singers like Britney Spears and Mandy Moore. They have a lot to say about that, and what it says about the late 90s, early 2000s pop scene. Like, so yes,
Which
they
songs were
journal.
those?
Oops, I Did It Again. Not Oops, I Did It Again. The other one. The Mandy Moore song.
Hit Me Baby One More Time? Is that,
No, it was definitely...
That's the same one.
That's the same song, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. Tangent! Sorry.
Well, in terms of those pop singers, I've got Britney Spears, then Mandy Moore.
Well, Christina Aguilera
But
is
if we're
obviously
going
the third.
acting, Mandy
Mandy
Moore
Moore
than
than
Britney
Britney
Spears.
Spears.
Yeah.
I don't think Christina Aguilera's ever really acted.
No, not really.
She's a better musician than either of them, but I don't like her music as much.
The voice hasn't come up yet on the podcast, so I haven't really seen her range.
Okay, where...
How's this album? I like it.
I think it's great.
It's a really good songs.
I mean,
The title
it's
song's
fine.
really good. Yeah,
I enjoyed
I
it.
like this album quite a bit.
I feel like this band is probably, like, somebody's, pet favorite band on the editorial team. That's a bad way to write a book, let's be clear.
Yep.
But, I enjoyed the album. Like, this is not one of the 1001 albums you have to listen to before you die. Like, it's definitely not.
But it's better, I think, than, like,
But it's better
at least
than
a third of what we've
It's better
read.
than a lot of the albums on this list.
I just don't think it's...
like this.
I really want, I would love Rolling Stone to put out a book like this, honestly.
Well, they
They
did a list.
They have a
They have
500 they have a 500 songs list? Do they have a 500 album list?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I should look at that, because the 500 songs list is
No, it's great.
how I learned about music. Like,
This album's number 1 on that list.
well, that's weird.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up.
It actually is on the Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums
It
list.
is?
Shit.
Yep.
Look
Huh.
at that.
So Wikipedia probably steered us wrong then. Like, obviously there's something like,
Well, I'd say at the time it wasn't, received. And then, like, people looked back and went, hey, look.
that's
Sounds
actually
pretty
really
good.
interesting. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Vertigo. The Hitchcock movie. Everyone's like, oh shit, that's one of his best films now.
Yeah, maybe one of the best films.
Yeah. Also, the U2 song.
Okay.
Luke, how many hinges do you give it?
3. It's fine. It is perfectly fine.
4.1.
I'll give it a 3.7.
All right, that is I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight by Richard and Linda Thompson. Now it's time for the food segment.
Okay, so the food I was supposed to get is Afugea'l Pitu, which is a kind of Italian cheese that honestly looks like word salad. I'm looking for it still. Weird cheeses are hard. They're not impossible, but, it's difficult if I don't. I'm going to check Italy. It's the one place I haven't looked. But I did go to Chinatown and find something that we were supposed to review 2 weeks ago, Shaanxi Superior Mature Vinegar, which is a kind of vinegar that is made out of sorghum and barley and peas. It's Chinese black vinegar, if you ever, hear that phrase. I'm gonna make some stir fries with it, because I have a giant bottle of it. But I think that it probably is something that we can taste the flavor of by just tasting it. Just remember, it's vinegar. So you're tasting for the taste that is interesting beyond it being vinegar, Austin.
I like vinegar.
I also like vinegar. I'm not talking to you, Pedro. I don't think you'll actually pay attention to this.
Yeah.
This is Shaanxi black vinegar. I poured it on a plate. We can eat it.
Oh boy.
No, I'm gonna make stir fry with it at some point, but I think I can probably just taste it. Ooh, yeah, that is definitely not regular vinegar, and it is very interesting.
Oh shit.
It is very interesting, and I want to put it in all.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
I know it's not, but it initially feels like it's carbonated.
Yeah, it's got No, it's it's weird. I like it and I dislike it at the same time. I don't.
Yeah.
It's very distinct.
I think it would be good in a stir fry. It's just it has. I feel like Sprite is an ingredient in this.
That's not true.
I know, but it just has this weird
Well, I think
light, slightly bubbly, but also
you're
sweet.
Weird. It is. It's a little sweet, and I think it's got
the initial taste is very immediate.
Yeah, it's
a millisecond of fast taste.
It's got the sweet part is a molassesy kind of taste, a sort of deep, sweet, strong sweetness, and then but then it's got an aftertaste that's a little smoky. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? Maybe
bit.
I don't know if smoky's the right word.
But I get what you mean by the smoke.
The initial taste has the same tang, sweet deepness as a balsamic vinegar, as any sort of dark vinegar.
But then it goes weird.
Then it sort of splits off into this weird soyness. It's
Soy,
not quite soy.
Soy sauce, but also other it's What is balsamic vinegar actually made out of? Wine. It's a red wine vinegar.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's some sort of.
Because this is a fermented barley and pea vinegar. So the things that it's made out of are.
I don't taste the peas at all.
Well, no, but you don't really taste what vinegars are made out of. They're often totally off from what they would originally be. But I now that I taste this, I have had this in a lot of. There's a place in Chicago's Chinatown. For those of you who know Chicago, there's a string of restaurants called Lao something, which are all by the same executive chef, or not executive chef, but the same dude owns.
There's so many of them.
There's a ton of them, and they're all different regional cuisines of Chinese food. Lao Sichuan is regularly ranked as the best Chinese restaurant in America. But they've got one. There's one called Lao Yunnan, and Yunnan is a southern Chinese province, and it's all there. It's not spicy. It's all vinegary, deep flavor vinegary stuff, and this stuff. This is what a lot of it tastes like.
Yeah.
Of you eat something with it and you're oh, and that has an interesting taste, and then that's a second interesting taste, and a third interesting taste, and I don't know what to do. I'm super into this. This is a good discovery.
Yeah, it has this odd taste. I'd love to have it kind of with something else.
Oh yeah.
So I know that you hate for
I will hurt you if you say that you can't rank it.
Well, I'm going to add it to something else we've reviewed. I have some
Malty,
allspice
woody,
here.
smoky.
Oh my god! No! No!
It's some
No.
allspice here.
No!
Gonna pour this
You're
here on the
gonna ruin
vinegar.
Oh no.
Just all right, Pedro.
I
Let's
mean,
try
I'll
this.
still try it, but I deeply regret all of this.
All right.
I wish
'Cause
we had never
allspice,
started this.
You say that
Why do you think this is a reasonable thing?
it's just
This
try
is
it with
not
allspice.
reasonable at all. Weirdly, not that bad, but
Yeah, this has
it's the vinegar that
this
makes
has
it okay.
more flavor. This is a fist fight, and allspice got their ass kicked.
It's true.
Actually, you know what?
I don't know. Allspice is coming back for a second
Allspice,
round.
it is. Yeah, it just has the aftertaste to it. It's not terrible together.
We're not. No.
I'm not hinging this
We're
concoction.
monstrosity. Sin against God.
Serious.
You still haven't added allspice to something actual, so I'm gonna keep bringing it back.
Oh my dear God.
What would you give the vinegar?
I am impressed. I'm into this discovery. This is what I like about the food segment is when I discover things. So I'm going to give this a 4.4.
I would give it a 4.5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm not as sold as you guys. I'm actually just a 3.5.
Fine.
This stuff might
Like-
lower blood pressure. I'm looking
Cool.
up black vinegar on Wikipedia. Apparently, this
Yeah.
is what this falls under.
Yeah, it's one of many, but yeah, it's
Mm.
interesting.
Smoky. They call it
Super
out.
into it.
They mentioned the Sprite element.
No, I think that's just you.
A lot of
Okay.
the recipes I saw were like, stir fry sauces where you would usually add like
Mhm.
lime juice or another acid, and you do this instead.
Gotcha.
And I was like, yeah, I get that.
I don't think this is reduced as much as a balsamic vinegar.
No, it's not.
Because balsamic is, it's made from grape must.
Balsamic
It's,
could
super
sometimes be
reduced.
like almost like
I bet,
gelatinous.
thick,
Yeah.
But, good stuff.
Now it's time for the song segment.
Woo.
Pedro, what else do we have this week?
We heard a song called In a Broken Dream by Python Lee Jackson.
Every day I spend my time drinking wine, feeling fine, waiting here to find the sign that I can understand. Yes, I am. In the days between the hours, ivory towers, bloody flowers push their heads into the air. I don't care if I ever know. There I go. Don't push your love too far. Your wounds won't leave a scar. Right now is where you are.
In a Broken Dream is a song released as a single by Python Lee Jackson featuring Rod Stewart before he got famous. He
That's
was
hilarious.
brought in to the studio. I think they were recording this in England as a guest vocalist, and he did it. And they're like, "Cool, we'll pay you. We'll redo your car covers, your car seat covers." They basically gave him a new set of covers for his car.
And then
That's
he
funny.
hosted the Twilight Zone.
Sure.
Did he?
Did he?
No,
Okay.
Right.
it's Rod
That's
Sterling.
Rod Sterling.
Funny joke.
But yeah, the song is
Because it had
actually
legs.
pretty
That
great.
went on for so long. Song's cool.
Yeah, it's a classic rock, I guess I would say. It's got some cool. I like the organ in the background. What do you call that organ? Like the one that's like you can hear in churches a lot of times.
A pipe organ?
No, not
An
traditional,
electric
like,
organ?
yeah, electric organ. I guess would be. But is there a specific? Okay, anyway, doesn't matter.
An electric organ.
Okay, cool. So it features
When's
electric
the last time
organ.
you've been to church?
Last time I went to like a big cathedral, they were playing pipe organ.
Yeah, they do that.
That was fun. Not a lot of churches have a full-on organ though.
That's true.
I'm super spoiled. I can't go to a church without a pipe organ. Not even kidding. It's just, I'm
Organ
I'm
snob.
I'm a monster.
Anywho, yeah, very fun song. Rod Stewart is great in it. This wasn't like super famous when it came out, but then I think it got re-released a few times, and in the UK it hit really well.
Of course,
When they released a single, number 3, I think, and then it was like in the 50s in the US. But yeah, indeed.
I really liked the Rod Stewart aspect. Like, I was listening to it, and I was like, this sounds an awful lot like Rod Stewart, and did not bother to look it up and see if it was, so.
So there you
It
go.
paid off.
It paid off.
I don't think I can review this song because I did listen to it, but I have no memory of it. It was very unremarkable, and therefore probably I should leave it to people who actually remember what it sounded like.
I mean, that's fair because it's not like there's nothing earth-shattering in it. It's very just like, I don't want to say classic rock, but it's a good classic example
had an
of straight
interesting
rock.
evolution to it, though. Like, I think
It
it kind of begins as a kind of quieter thing,
Mhm.
and then became a lot more complicated with its sound.
Yeah. No, the intro, like, I think of it as something that would live in, I don't know, like a crime show or something where you see the bad guy walking in.
I actually did have like a slow motion bad guy like pulling off all the heist and killing all of his enemies, kind of like
Like maybe
Feel
something from like 60s or 70s, like heist film,
Yeah,
or I don't know, what else? Or like actually, any sort of intro to the gang in Luke Cage. This would fit pretty well.
I'm on
Seeing
episode 3.
Cottonmouth
You
come
have
in
to
and
finish
do
that
stuff.
show.
But yeah, it was fun. But yeah, to its point, it's also not super special.
It's like if you took just a bunch of rock songs from the 70s, put them into a blender, and made a song out of it. This is what you'd get.
Yep.
That makes sense.
And add allspice.
Yes.
No.
Why?
Rod Stewart is the Old Spice there.
Why would you think this has to become a thing? Like, I understand
It's all spices.
I understand we need bits, but why does this have to be the bit?
Allspice. Sponsor our show. I'll do more of this.
You get that it's a
It's run by Big Allspice.
I listened to the lyrics a little bit in the song too.
Wait, a little bit?
Wow.
Yeah, just a
Why
little
do you
bit.
say a
And
little bit?
Because then I read them later.
Oh, okay.
But it's interesting. It's about people trying not too hard because if they do, they'll get shot down. That's
Sure.
that's what I took. See, that's why I don't do this. I'm not good at this part.
It's just that you have to fail. I don't know
Right?
why.
I understood what you meant.
No, he made complete sense. I just decided to keep staring at him.
But yeah,
Oh, boy.
it's fantastic to listen to Rod Stewart.
Sure.
Is my takeaway.
Yeah.
What would I know of Rod Stewart?
I don't even know.
I know him just visually, like I know what he looks like, but I
I've got
don't
a
know
tab on him open.
like the major songs he's associated with.
Forever Young.
Okay, I've heard that.
Well, there's a lot of Forever Youngs.
Forever Young.
That one.
I want
Car commercial.
Forever Young.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
One of my first
Maggie
slow
May.
dances.
Good morning, little schoolgirl? It's the first thing I saw in quotes. Is his first single?
What did you just Google?
It was his first single, apparently.
You're going chronologically.
Musical discography. No, of course, there's a whole separate thing.
We're gonna jump back to you on this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you give the song?
4. Totally fine.
3.8.
I'm not gonna hinge this. I don't remember it.
3. It's fine.
And that was In a Broken Dream by Python Lee Jackson. One of the coolest names we've ever said on this podcast.
It's true. It's a pretty great name.
And you hate snakes.
Yeah, but like, I feel like if you name yourself after them, it's kind of like reclaiming it. You know?
Is it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's like if I eat snakes. That's like cool because I've destroyed them.
There's one fewer one now that you hate a snake.
Exactly.
It's funny, they're an Australian band. They formed in Sydney, but the 2 people that formed it were from the UK.
Now it's
In
time
case
for
you
the TV
didn't
show.
Alright, what?
Now it's time for the TV show segment. This week it was the miniseries The Day of the Triffids. Day of the Triffids is a miniseries based off the book of the same name. It is something that I actually had never heard of before, so I was shocked to see that it has a film and 2 different miniseries based off of it. It is the rather creepy story. It's just a 3-hour miniseries, but it's about these mysterious plants that kind of arrive all across the world. And, oh, this is just BBC production values, but look like giant ostriches.
Yeah. Ostrich.
Like,
They
with a
look
lily.
like, if you know Pokemon, they look just like Lileep, the one that turns into Cradily. Like, just like that. Here, I'll pull
Pedro's
up.
shaking his head.
I'll pull up a Lileep.
These
so
are
you
not
can
part
look
of
at
the
it.
150, are they?
No, it's
Part of the 250?
Gen
The
3.
4?
You have
Gen
such a
3.
disdain about Beyond the 150.
Beyond the 150.
Hey, there's 804 of them now, and I can name them all.
Motherfucker!
Insane.
I know all their names.
Really?
Yeah, I passed that Sporkle quiz.
Good lord.
I had to use a Flash app because Sporkle doesn't allow more than 300 answers. I still did it. Anyway.
Day of Triffids. So these weird Pokemon-looking plants kind of arrive all around. Scientists kind of look at them, do some studies, mostly think they're pretty harmless, and then, but they do have kind of an annoying little poison to them, and our main hero had kind of been infected twice, and he was in the hospital when this kind of miraculous thing happened where it's just like all these comets were falling from the sky. It was kind of this beautiful event. Unfortunately, it made the whole planet blind.
Well, that's good.
So while he was wrapped up in bandages, he becomes now one of the only people on the planet who can see. And it becomes a paranoid kind of thriller of you're watching kind of people try to function, of being like suddenly blind, and watching society kind of fall apart from that. Okay, Sarah showed me the Pokemon, and kind of,
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's still more ostrichy. And,
it's true.
but
So,
the major kind of conceit, weirdly, is not as much about the kind of plant horror aspect that was going to be. It's
horror. I like the idea of plant horror being like a counterpart to body horror, like a
Yeah.
whole genre of horror.
it becomes more about like looking at society being destabilized and what it kind of looks like when you try to like rebuild it. And it has aspects of kind of making the same mistake and kind of making British class systems again, essentially. And it was pretty good. I mean, it has a rather creepy tinge to it, especially kind of within the first couple episodes, because you just don't understand what is going on, and it begins with the man trying to like recount while just being like, he's a little bit losing his mind just by how much he's been under these bandages and can't really kind of function the way he was, which then becomes evident for everyone else in the world. But I guess the weirdest part for me is that like the way the miniseries ended, I felt like I wanted another like 200 pages out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an okay ending, but it's so open-ended that I kind of wish it would continue more, especially since it's establishing so many interesting things.
I found it weird. I only watched the first episode, so I won't review it. But I did find it weird that, much like this is sort of one of those across the pond things, where like there's a Wikipedia article about the creature. Like these are a known like sci-fi creature.
Yeah, never heard of them
Right
before.
Yeah.
The Triffids. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's just bizarre that I don't know, like it's like, you know, like
Yeah.
he would include them along with like werewolves or something, except that like
Yeah.
or you know space aliens. I don't know, but it's just like it's very strange that
Well, I
didn't
mean,
come here at all.
80s production values made them not look actually very threatening until
Yeah.
there was kind of a great bit of dialogue in the first episode, which was something along the lines of, you know, it takes so much effort on our part to kind of like break them down to get the information that we want or the nutrients we want or like the benefit they would have to us. Whereas on the flip side, they can like take us down so easily.
Mm.
And the scientist goes, well, luckily we don't have to worry about that, do we? And then he doomed them all basically
Yeah.
by saying that. It was good. I mean, it's not something that I think is particularly great. I actually do want to read the book now because I think it would be a really good book. It reminded me of another kind of plant horror book that I really liked called The Ruins, which was a very mediocre movie. but the book is super creepy. Highly recommend that. I think it's by Scott Smith, or another generic name like that. But ultimately, Day of the Triffids, super fast watch. The episodes kind of fly by. In fact, like, I was kind of surprised the cliffhanger is like worthy of an episode, because it's just like, oh, I want to see the next scene. But ultimately, I think it's going to fade from memory, whereas I think other adaptations could do it even better. But I did enjoy how weirdly like British TV it was, especially with its music and eeriness. So like 3.7. Sarah, you gonna finish it?
I might. We'll see.
Yeah. And now let's jump back to Pedro for his breakdown of famed magician Rod Stewart. Musician.
He's a person. He sings things.
I think I'm also picturing him as either I don't know. Someone else talk. I'm losing.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
I think I'm
didn't hear a
picturing
number.
He looks like Siegfried and Roy. One of those guys to me.
Really?
I don't know.
I honestly don't.
Dude.
This maybe just unusable.
He sings.
He sings songs. Is he forever young?
Maybe? No. I think he's still alive.
What other songs does he do?
I don't know.
Maggie May.
I thought you were looking this up.
I was, and then I stopped.
Because you're listening to my segment?
No.
God damn it, Pedro.
I was reading about Triffids.
Alright. It's a mess of an episode.
That it is.
Can't all be winners.
Nope.
But arguably some of them should be winners. So maybe one day we'll get to those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe it'll be next episode.
Yeah.
Will Pedro give us a good mathematical formula that will get us a good number for next week's episode?
No. It's 406.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sure. Whatever.
I couldn't think of anything.
Okay. 406 seems like a perfectly reasonable number.
I mean, it's twice 103.
Sure.
Uh-huh. Why does 103 connect to our episode?
I don't know. We're going to...
Wait, it's not twice 103.
Twice
406.
203.
Yes.
Well, it has a 2 and a 3 in it, and a 0.
Uh-huh.
We're doing episode 120 next. I don't know. 1, 2, 2. It's hard. I just want to do 406.
Fine. Let's do 406.
Okay.
The movie is... We've done a horror film in a second. The Haunting.
Let's see. The food is turbot, which is a kind of fish, I believe.
The song is Jive Talkin' by Bee Gees.
The album is Duck, Stab, Buster, and Glenn by The Residents.
And the TV show is the Australian soap opera Home and Away, which, as of this recording, has over 6,000 episodes.
Good fucking God.
Ooh-wee.
Well,
Jesus.
good.
Don't worry. I'm going to start at the beginning.
God damn.
Okay.
Started in 88. And also, we're going to have a bonus review.
We are.
Pedro's going to be doing the bonus review next episode.
Mm-hmm.
You can say it now, or you can leave it for next episode.
Well, I'll say it now. We are going to do the fantastic French film Le Dîner de Con, known by the English title of The Dinner Game. There's a new version out there, I think, with...
Yeah,
The
I never
idiot
saw
game
it.
is with Steve Carell.
No,
it's
it's
called-
or
Dinner
the-
for Schmucks.
Dinner for
Oh,
Schmucks.
okay. Don't
which
watch
is,
that one.
Which is a closer translation of the French name for the movie. Although
Yes.
schmuck is like, it's close, but it's not as...
It's not the same.
It's not, yeah.
I'm going to do a breakdown of what con means later. But yeah, so it's The Dinner Game if you find it. I think it's 80s
Yeah.
film.
Probably. Early 90s.
Pretty sure 90s.
Early 90s? Probably.
Late 90s?
God only knows.
Maybe.
It's impossible
I
to
feel
know.
like more people think God knows when this came out.
It's impossible to know.
Well, I mean, if only I could look this up. Right. 1998. Wow.
Called it.
Okay. Late 90s. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what we're doing.
I'm excited to revisit that. It's been a while since I've seen both these films. I think I saw both these.
You've seen this before?
Yeah.
I thought you had never seen it.
No, I've seen it.
Okay.
Lee, have you seen it?
No, I'm not.
All right.
It's
It's
good
good?
stuff. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to like some like French comedies kick when I saw this one. Like I saw like The Valet, things like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Cool. I'm
Feel
excited
free to
for
watch
that.
along, and then we'll talk about it.
It is a complete counterbalance to The Haunting.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Black and white horror film from kind of the end of the Hollywood era, Robert Wise, and French comedy of manners.
Indeed.
Sweet. So catch us next week for both those things. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter at the Immortals Pod. Lee runs that account very well. All these episodes go on YouTube. You can go to theartofmore.com, leave your comments on anything we reviewed today. It's Cabiria, Richard and Linda Thompson, whatever you like to talk about. We'd love to have a discussion. While you're there, you can check out some other cool podcasts, including Let's Take 5, which is wrapped up its Terrence Malick 5 with the 100th episode of the show that comes out tomorrow. We'll be reviewing The Tree of Life with special guest Josh Larson from Film Spotting. We haven't recorded that yet, and I am very nervous, but I think it's going to turn out really well because it's a beautiful, fascinating film. Also, Ad Absurdum, latest episode is very similar to Tree of Life, right? Escape from New York.
Yeah, that's actually, they're pretty much the same movie. Like, people, like, critics have noted that.
Yeah.
How similar they are, yeah.
Basically a remake.
Mm-hmm.
And really interesting episode. So, yeah, we'll catch you all next week. Until then, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See me now, that little gang of mine. I'm eating fancy chow and drinking fancy wine. I'd like those stumble bums to see for a fact the kind of top drawer, first rate chums I attract. All I can say is, wow, look where I am. Tonight I landed, pow, right in a pot of jam. What a setup, holy cow. They'd never believe it if my friends could see me now.